Hi friends, in today's video we're going to be conducting an epic color comparison and blind test of 6 of the largest camera brands, including Canon, Fuji, Leica, Panasonic, Nikon, and Sony, using their flagship cameras and fast aperture 50mm lenses or equivalent for samples. So to conduct this test, I've taken a series of different types of shots in various conditions to give us a wide variety of color samples to work with. And I tried to take the shots as identically as possible on each camera, including setting the same Kelvin value for white balance, same exposure triangle value, etc. Now there are hundreds of variables that might affect color, and we can't account for all of them in our test today, but I've endeavored to be as scientific as possible, and I feel confident that this comparison will help you better understand some of the subtle differences in color philosophy of these various brands. Now, I know you're anxious to see, just to get to that comparison, but there are 4 very important points that I hope that you'll listen to and understand before we dive into that. Number 1, I'm showing you the JPEG output from the raw files from Lightroom. I know not everyone uses Lightroom, but it is the most widely adopted RAW editor currently, and it's the one that I use. If you would like to download the RAW files yourself so that you can compare them on various other RAW editors and explore them in greater detail, you can do that. Number 2, my comparisons are always blind, and invariably this causes confusion among impatient viewers who don't stick around to realize that. And what that means is that you're just going to see a letter representing each camera brand, and it's not until the end that I will reveal which letter corresponds to that brand. This is on purpose so you can really start to see what your preferences are without bias. If you just want to know which camera each sample comes from, just use the chapter markers to navigate to the big reveal and then go back and watch the comparison. Number 3, this video was a lot of work, but also utilizes a lot of gear, and for that we are indebted to our awesome partners over at lensrentals.com, who graciously lent me all the gear that I'm using here so that I could conduct this test for you. We all benefit from this, and I hope that you'll head on over to lensrental.com and check them out. They're who I use when I need to rent photo and video gear for all kinds of different shoots, and they are hands down the best gear rental company that I've worked with. They're well stocked with all the gear you could possibly need, and I've always found their customer service friendly and amazingly helpful, and that's why I reached out to them specifically to partner on the study, and they agreed. So thanks, Lens Rentals. Number 4, the blind test is broken into 2 parts. The first part is, like I said, exports from Adobe Lightroom using each camera's comparable color profile. So for instance, with a landscape shot, we utilize the landscape profile from each brand as output. In the case of Leica, there is only one color profile. And in the case of Fuji, I've indicated which profile I use, which I think corresponds best with each category. I think that'll make more sense as you view it as we go. For the second part, I exported with Adobe color profiles applied to the RAW so that the subtle differences in color can be appreciated with one less variable, if that makes sense. So it's not a perfect representation of how the RAW compares, but it's about as close as I think I could get. Again, if you want to view the RAW side by side, the best thing to do is just to download them from my website. So that's it. Let's dive into the blind test. All right, welcome back. It's time for that big reveal. Here are the identities of the letters from the tests, and I'm really curious to know how you rated them. Did it meet with your expectations? Were you surprised at all? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. For me, I did my best to give myself the blind test by shuffling the photos and viewing them blindly, and I was massively surprised to see that I have a huge preference for a brand that I would not have expected, and that was Nikon, although Fuji was not a too far distant second, which is less of a surprise, of course, but Nikon, I was not expecting that, would not have expected that. I've shot with Nikon many times, never realized that I had an affinity for that sort of color philosophy, but that was interesting. Also interesting was that I didn't once, not a single vote for Panasonic. Something about their profile, the color philosophy, it just did not vibe with me, I guess. But for me, I take that with a grain of salt, though. While I do enjoy blind tests like these, as you know, I also recognize that at the end of the day, if you have a raw file, you can pretty much get the color that you enjoy and want, regardless of your camera brand. And I also know and hope that you know as well that the lighting conditions, your use of good lighting technique matters way more than which brand of camera that you are using. But regardless, this was a lot of fun, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts and perspectives in the comments. Again, a reminder that if you'd like to view the raw files yourself, you can get them from the link below for a fee. Again, massive thanks for Lens Rentals for making this video possible. But that's all I've got for you for now. Remember to do good with your camera, and we'll talk to you again real soon.